Catastrophe averted. The Eagles' inspiring 9-point victory over Geelong in front of 26,000 fans keeps them locked into the top four. It was a fifth consecutive victory as West Coast stormed back from a 22-point deficit to keep the Cats winless against the Eagles at Optus Stadium. Welcome to this week's episode of Eagle Review, proudly sponsored by Kennards Hire. Can on Kennards to make trade easy. Go in-store or online, kennards.com.au. Tyson Beattie at the desk with me. Hello, Tyson.
Hello,
Welcome.
Stephen.
What an absolute belter game of footy. I think every one of the fans and people watching at home would feel like they were well entertained, got their money's worth. Geelong and Eagles probably up there with two juggernauts of what's going to be the 2020 competition. And it was just a fantastic battle with ebbing and flowing in terms of momentum, real finals type atmosphere with the intensity and pressure. But in the end, West Coast 4 points on the board. Got to be happy.
Well, Stephen, Geelong really is one of our great rivalries, and it's actually one of our closest. 28 wins to 26 losses our way over the course of the series. And the last time an away team actually won in this series was way back in 2013, 7 years ago, Geelong back at Subi. But they were fantastic, the Cats. They led for 78 minutes of the game, 88% of match time. And they were brilliant at the beginning of the game. But it was that second half again, that comeback. And it was actually only the second time for the season that a team had come back from three-quarter time deficit to actually win the game. So it was a fantastic contest.
Yeah, unbelievable. I'll tell you who was a big contributing factor to this victory was old number 17, Josh Kennedy. He's done it again, bobbed up for 3 final quarter goals. That's contributed to his 4th straight on the night. He's now leading the Coleman. But this is just one of the most unbelievable drawn-up plays in 2020 for mine. Nick Natanui, the old deft touch. Who's going to pick the full forward to be the go-to roving hit? I'm sure all the Cats midfielders are like, why isn't my man moving? Well, that's because Josh Kennedy's just steaming forward, hit it at full pace, clean as you like, snap goal. Geez, I was fist pumping with no one around me in the living room.
Oh, it was poetry in motion. You see Kelly just hold back, Kennedy comes through, kick the goal. It was fantastic. He has 15 goals over the last 3 games. He leads the Coleman race with 22 on the season now. Fantastic, big JK. But 3 big moments in the 4th quarter.
That one's hard to top. What else you got for me?
Well, Sam Simpson here, you look at this goal that was given a goal, which came off his knee and then the toe. So
whoa, yeah, well, hold up there. I don't know how much toe contact there was, TB.
Well, it was given a goal and it looks like there was on that freeze frame a bit of toe on it. But anyway, it didn't cost us in the end. It could have.
Where's Snicko? Give me Snicko.
If we lost by a goal, it could have been a bit controversial. But if you look at Esava Radaglia, emerging player, but 2 really important turnovers cost the Cats. In the first, in the 3rd quarter, he kicks backwards, and then Jamie Cripps, terrific goal on the run here.
Oh, the emotion that spilled out of Cripper when he put that one through, it was electrifying to watch.
And that cut the lead to 8 points. But in the 4th term, the other turnover he had, a bad handball, ends up in a goal to Jack Darling. This kick from the boundary was brilliant again by Cripps. And then Jack Darling really composed under pressure. This was the goal that put us in front. So those 3 moments were really big.
Yeah, West Coast patrolling the corridor very well, and they made the Cats pay big time. In the game in itself, West Coast absolutely roared out of the blocks. A goal in the first 16 seconds. That's happening pretty rarely. The old Natanui-Kelly combo almost slams through his first so quickly into the game, but Josh Kennedy making an absolute certainty of it. Now, West Coast didn't lead again until halfway through the 4th quarter. Geelong controlling much of the game. They really did starve West Coast of their ball movement in the 1st quarter. It was almost Geelong that were doing that swinging game in the back half, and they really pressed up defensively to enable West Coast to have to kick long down the line. It was 6 marks total to West Coast in the 1st quarter. I mean, they averaged 20 per quarter in the game.
80 a game. It's a really good point. And Geelong were really good defensively. They kept their shape really well in the first half up until this moment, just 3 minutes before the end of the 2nd quarter. JK takes a mark on the wing, and then this massive monster switch kick right into the middle of the field. That would have gone 50 metres to Ainsworth, and this leads to a Sheed goal. That cuts the margin to 16 points. That was a crucial moment as well.
It was indeed. And you've got to say, Geelong really took advantage of all their opportunities. 7 straight leading into half-time. That has got to happen pretty rarely, I would have thought, TB.
Well, yeah, it hasn't happened for Geelong since 1915. They've gone into half-time with 0 behind, so it's a real rarity. But if you look at West Coast really owned the field position in the second half. The Cats still stopped them from scoring, though, and that was the interesting sort of arm wrestle of the game, so to speak.
Absolutely. 5 on the trot. And one of the most pleasing aspects is Simo come out and said it's probably the youngest team that they've played for about 4 or 5 years. This bloke was a major contributor. Harry Edwards, debuting on the night, just 20 years of age. Unfortunately for Big Harry, who is a real aspiring young athlete, growing 20 centimetres in the last 2 years, TB, that's got to be illegal. He's absolutely skyrocketed. But he's not going to remember a lot of his debut because he got a bit of friendly fire against Brad Shepherd and had to be carted off the ground, in the second term and played no further part. But he is going to be an exciting future piece coming off the Eagles rookie list. Absolutely. Remember the name.
Yeah, and he's in there because Jerry McGovern, obviously with his thumb injury, and we'll know more this week about how he's progressing with that. But Harry does look like a good prospect. And how many players in their first game have got the Gatorade shower but they don't remember it because of a concussion? Have a look at this here. He's got his warm-up top on and just loving it.
I think the boys were very careful not to be rubbing the head too hard there for Harry. But also, speaking of collisions, there was a bad one with Liam Duggan, TB. He's gone down to pick the ball up and poor old Charlie Constable's copped an absolute wrath of that. Now, as we're recording the show, we don't know if there are going to be any sanctions placed on Liam. I think he's going to be okay with ball in hand, but I've seen weirder decisions made. Let's hope all the best for Liam Duggan and, of course, Constable's recovery.
Now, what about the best Eagles on the night? It's a hard one to pick, this one, isn't it?
I think so. I think I saw on the AFL website that they had Josh Kennedy with the 3 votes, but, I mean, he's played an outstanding final quarter. Does that constitute a best on ground? I mean, is Nick Natanui in the conversation? He had an outstanding game. You could really see Geelong were hurting with no recognised ruckman and Stanley and Fort out. He made the most of that with 9 touches, more than 4 clearances and 7 inside 50s, 6 score involvements. Very active. And when West Coast get a 16-5 inside 50, stoppage, someone like Nick Natanui is going to thrive in that instance.
And he played 72% of game time. Now, that's the highest percentage since round 21, 2016. How about that?
No, it's not the most minutes, though, is it? It's percentage. Don't try and trick me there.
Shorter quarters, yeah.
It is good to see, though. Now, I mean, look at other players. Liam Duggan had a sensational game out the back half. Rebounded the ball spectacularly. 17 disposals, 326 metres gained. That's a whole heap for a defender. I think Shepherd was closest with 200. Jamie Cripps, he bobbed up at good moments, was solid. Darling had his turn. A few of Jared Cameron's tackles were absolutely sensational. You can really see that rugby background. He knows how to lay a tackle. And, of course, you've got to give credit to the defence, TB. I mean, you've played, awesome footy without your 4-time All-Australian, arguably best defender, and Jeremy McGovern on the field.
And obviously playing a man down as well in the second half.
Yeah.
If you have a look at Liam Ryan, he had some really big moments as well, including a costly almost 100-metre penalty here. So he gets the first 50-metre penalty for a demonstrative behaviour, and then the second one could have happened, but I reckon that Tui's just tried to sneak an extra 50 out.
Just run into it. Well, my heart was in my mouth. Fortunately, Radagalier was having the shot after this play and sprayed it, so Liam Ryan breathed a sigh of relief there. But, I mean, he was the one that took that contested grab and slotted through the goal when they were at their lowest. That was a big momentum turner. And he had a lot of other individual moments where he stood up. A very serviceable game from Liam, I thought.
Yeah, very good. And Dom Sheed, 24 disposals, 6 score involvements, kicked 2 goals himself.
What about Tim Kelly? Good to see him against the old mum. Bob up with a good game, 23 disposals. Elliot Yeo had 20, 15 of those contested. Not a lot of cheap ball out there for Elliot Yeo. I want to touch on these 2 inside 50 entries from Luke Shuey, the captain. Now, the left footer, we know how good he is on his opposite side. That one's very special. This one here, the old gets the ball, that back foot does not leave the ground. He's got to swing the right foot around the body, momentum forward, and hit this target. How low and how flat he had to kick it off of 0 step, that was the kick of the night as far as I'm concerned.
Amazing strength through his hips. His turning circle's incredible and his skills on both sides are amazing.
You want to talk about strength? Get a load of Elliot Yeo and Tom Stewart attempting to tackle him. Wouldn't have thought so, he says.
Absolutely. What about Brendan Archie? He had a couple of important moments as well.
Yeah, well, you want to touch on the goal. I thought this one here just showcasing some skill from Archie. So he's obviously been able to palm this handball received in the 4th quarter when time's ticking on, getting very intense. And the little flick handball. He is one of the best handballers in this West Coast Eagles squad. But that was quite a nerve-wracking moment for a utility forward to spend in the back half and handle the ball so effectively well.
Yeah, the other moment I was thinking of, and I went back home and watched the replay with a glass of West Cape Howe, as you do with a game like that, and it was in the end of the 3rd quarter, 24 seconds left. Hawkins had just kicked a goal, big clearance here, and I think this is great forward craft. He starts behind his opponent and then the timing is perfect, takes the big mark, a bit of a nervy shot for goal, but that cut the lead to 8 points. That was important.
Absolutely monstrous. And now we look ahead, TB. We've got an 8-day break. Things are looking up. The injury list, not too bad. Gov's got to sort his thumb out. Jack Redden was obviously laid out with a quad complaint. We'll see if he can get up in time, but You look at Freo, North Melbourne's injury list. I mean, it's paling in comparison.
Yeah, things going okay at the moment. Let's have a look at the roast of the round.
Well, it's time to get stuck into it. You know, I've got a few up my sleeve. We're going to start with Collar Jasny for the Cats. That switch was not going to plan whatsoever. Have another crack at that. Luke Shuey, I thought he was going to send Parfit into next week, but he's done a little bit of a Matador Olay. Just move the cape out of the way. Old Parfit, not a good look. Now, this free kick, I want to vent for a minute, TB. This was against Nick Natanui, and the umpire said he's crossed the line and didn't contest in the ruck contest. Now, the only way I want to see this free kick paid, ever, is if the ruckman takes their eyes off the ball. Poor free kick, don't want to ever see it paid again.
Okay, now, Stephen, this isn't the West Perth review, but there are a lot of Falcons in these roasts. The first one here is Cole, absolutely smashed by the Yo Soccer off the ground. What about Taylor here, the WWF over the rope?
Yeah, that was a bit of showtime there for Harry Taylor. Oh, how's the form where he and Josh Kennedy are laughing together, going back to their position? Old junior footy mates. This is coming off Harry Taylor having a rebound, sets up a Geelong goal.
From Northampton.
Bit of a giggle from the two boys.
That's it. What about this one? Cam Guthrie, absolute screamer, one-hander here, but he plays on and gets tackled.
Didn't have a lot of time to rejoice in the mark, did he?
Not 0.5 a second.
Not a good one there. Menegola, this is one of the greatest spins of the night. That's some Harlem Globetrotter type stuff there. Well done, Sam. Good spin. But in the end, kick, turnover, roast. Your spin means nothing.
Well, let's go around the grounds. And again, another Falcon here. Rewalt, he's probably copped a few of these lately from Cordy here. Mitch Wallace, where's this one in the third quarter? Put him down for a goal assist on that Falcon. That's a first.
Yeah, I mean, when your Falcon ends up in some scores, you've got to be pretty happy with it. What about this in St Kilda, Sydney? A ruck contest. Alir. No ruckman for St Kilda. What are you doing? Man, it's not going to bite you. Pick it up and kick it, will you, Alir? No good there. Oh, mate, I was haunted on Saturday night. Having a look at this image, I did not want to know what the Dangerfield Kennedy love child looks like. Oh, it put me off my dinner, that.
They're a little bit creepy, these points bet.
I agree. No time for him.
What about Mitch Robinson here? This is hilarious. This had me in tears. He gets dealt with by his opponent here. Probably should have been a free kick. And then a bit of friendly fire. But he's too sore to chase the opponent. Let the mouthguard do the work.
That's some strange tactics there from Mitch Robinson, although it did have more pace than his legs can carry. We got another Falcon. How many you got?
Well, this one, Hipwood going for the mark. Hurley in the way. Where's that one well?
Still trying to rub the Sharon off his face there. That's not great, but we're going to the winner, TB.
Yeah, it's a beauty, and you've gone back to the well here. And thanks to someone who's actually messaged this one in.
Jordan Finn for sending this one in. Thanks very much. And we're going straight back to the Fox graphic team. How's this one? Good schedule on the horizon for Saturday night. We've got West Coast against Optus Stadium. Just the old 26,000 v 22. That's going to be
mismatch.
That's going to be difficult to keep track of your opponents. Mate, whoever's guarding the Jumbotron, that's going to be a tough game because he's in for a big one.